Welcome to Educon. This is Imam with you, and in this video we'll discuss about plant life cycles and alternation of generations. In plants, both haploid and diploid cells can divide by mitosis. This ability leads to the formation of different plant bodies, haploid and diploid. So what does this mean? So in plants, haploid and diploid cells can be divided through mitosis. Remember this. And also, what is the ability here? The ability leads to formation of different plant bodies. The ability of cells undergoing division through mitosis. That is the ability which leads to the formation of different plant bodies, that is haploid and diploid plant bodies. The haploid plant body produces gametes by mitosis. This plant body represents a gametophyte. Following fertilization, the zygote also divides by mitosis to produce a diploid sporophytic plant. So generally zygote undergo meiosis. Now you can see in the image, zygote undergo meiosis forming spores. So in plants, I said in plants both haploid and diploid cells can divide by mitosis. So we can take that as an important line in this discussion. So the plant body represents a gametophyte. So for the following fertilization, the zygote also divides by mitosis to produce a diploid sporophytic plant. Haploid spores are produced by this plant body by meiosis. These in turn divide by mitosis to form a haploid plant body once again. Okay? Haploid spores are produced by the plant body through meiosis. Again, these in turn divide by mitosis to form haploid plant body once again. Thus, during the life cycle of any sexually reproducing plant, there is an alternation of generations between gamete producing haploid gametophyte and spore producing diploid sporophyte. So here this is the what is the alternation of generation? Here we have two generations we are seeing. One is a haploid phase, another is a diploid phase. So in any plant life cycle, if these stages are present, this is called as alternation of generation. So we are seeing the plant itself, it is altering the generations from diploid to haploid, haploid to diploid, like that. This is called alternation of generations. However, different plant groups as well as individuals representing them differ in following pattern. So we have among that, we have a haplontic life cycle, diplontic life cycle, and haplodiplontic life cycle. We have three kind of life cycles which are present in plants. So first, coming to haplontic life cycle. Sporophytic generation is represented only by one cell zygote, that is diploid. So the rest of the life cycle is haploid. So majority of what is the dominant stage here? The haploid stage is dominant over the diploid stage. So this is called as a haplontic life cycle. So here the sporophytic generation is represented. So sporophytic generation means which produces spores. So only sporophytic generation, that is zygote, okay, or having a diploid or diploid actually. So the entire life cycle is haploid. So dominant phase of haploid is more than the diploid phase. Hence, the life cycle is called as haplontic life cycle. There are no free living sporophytes. Okay, meiosis in the zygote results in the formation of haploid spores. The haploid spores divide mitotically and form the gametophyte. The dominant photosynthetic phase in such plant is the free living gametophyte. This kind of life cycle is termed as haplontic life cycle. So what are the examples which comes under haplontic? Many algae such as volvox, pyrogyra, and some species of chlamydomonas represent this pattern of life cycle. So you can see in the image here. So this is the life cycle of haplontic. This is an illustration. So we have only the zygote is the diploid in this life cycle. The rest, spores, gametophyte, gametophyte, everything is completely haploid. So dominant phase of haploid over diploid. That is why it is called as haplontic life cycle. Coming to diplontic life cycle. On the other extreme is the type where the diploid sporophyte is the dominant. In haplontic, we have a haploid phase dominant over diploid. So here the diploid sporophyte is the dominant phase. Okay. So the type where the diploid spore is dominant photosynthetic independent phase of plant. The gametophytic phase is represented by the single to few celled haploid gametophyte. This kind of life cycle is termed as diplontic. The examples are like analogous species represent this pattern. In addition, all seed-bearing plants, that is gymnosperms and angiosperms, follow this pattern with some variation wherein the gametophytic phase is few to multi-cell. Okay, so again we have a look at the image. So this is the diplontic. We have the life cycle. The haploid stage is only appearing here. The rest is the diploid stage. Hence it is called, where here what is dominant here? Diploid phase is dominant over haploid. That is why it is called as diplontic life cycle. So coming to haplodiplontic life cycle, this type of life cycle exhibited by bryophytes and pteridophytes. Here both phases they fight together. That I am dominant, like you are dominant, like haploid phase and diploid phase, they share the life cycle. So they differ in the dominant phases, but still they compete with each other in haploid, means that is both haploid and diploid phase, they compete with each other in this haplodiplontic life cycle. So again, how we can expect questions from these sections? So first we need to remember what is haploid. For example, coming to haplontic life cycle, here question may come like, choose correct options regarding haplontic life cycle. So what are the important points to be remember from haplontic life cycle? Here sporophytic generation is represented only by the single cell zygote. Okay, that may be one option. Again, there are no free living sporophytes. It may be second option. Again, meiosis in the zygote results in the formation of haploid spores. Okay, all these three lines can directly come from the NCERT book, so we may not miss anything from this. So each line can come as an option. The haploid spores divide mitotically and forms a gametophyte. So here we need to remember all these 3 to 4 lines to answer such question, like choose the correct option regarding haplontic life cycle. So you may having 3 options directly from the textbook, and maybe the 4th option will be all of the above. Again, what is false? So find that false statement regarding haplontic life cycle. Like that we need to prepare for ourselves when you are studying the NCERT book. So mostly the questions are from NCERT book, so we need to see how the questions are coming. So regarding diplontic, so what is same question you can apply here also. Choose the correct option regarding diplontic life cycle. Okay, here what is the dominant phase is diploid. Okay, that is the correct option. Okay, that is also correct option. Here the diploid sporophyte is the dominant photosynthetic independent phase of the plant. Okay, this is the diploid main phase of the diplontic life cycle. The gametophytic phase is represented by single to few celled haploid gametophyte. See, single to few cell. This is also a very important line. So, and where it can be seen, like gymnosperms and angiosperms, all seed bearing plants. So you can take diploid phases dominant plus the gametophyte is single to few cell haploid gametophyte. Okay, number 2. Number 3, exhibited by all seed bearing plants, that is gymnosperms and angiosperms. These all 3 statements are correct. So if you need to choose a wrong statement from that, then the options will be different. The dominant phase is, for example, it will be haploid, so it will not be haploid. That is a wrong statement. Like that we need to answer the questions. We need to study the questions properly, then only we need to answer. Coming to in haplodiplontic, where both phases compete with each other. Both phases are multicellular. Remember, this is also very important line here. Both phases are multicellular. Okay. A dominant independent photosynthetic thalloid or erect phase is represented by haploid gametophyte, and it alternates with the short-lived multicellular sporophyte, totally or partially depending on the gametophyte for its anchorage and nutrition. All bryophytes represent this pattern. Which pattern? Haplodiplotic life cycle. Okay. The diploid sporophyte is represented by a dominant independent photosynthetic vascular plant body. Okay. The diploid sporophyte is represented by a dominant independent photosynthetic vascular plant body. It alternates with multicellular saprophytic autotrophy, independent but short-lived haploid gametophyte. It alternates with, that is, we talk about alternation of generation between diploid and haploid phases. Okay, this is what it is. Such a pattern is known as haplodiplontic life cycle. Okay, so here both phases, they compete with each other. All pteridophytes exhibits this pattern, that is haplodiplontic life cycle. Interestingly, while most algal genera are haplontic, some of them such as Ectocorpus, Polysiphonia, Kelps are haplodiplontic. So this is very, very important. What is the example of alga which exhibit haplodiplontic life cycle? So these we have three examples here: Ectocorpus, Polysiphonia, Kelps, which are haplodiplontic. Generally, algae they exhibit haplontic life cycle, and you can see in fucus and alga, which is a diplontic. So these examples are quite important. We need to remember these names, these examples, in which of the following alga exhibits haplodiplontic life cycle, and which the following alga exhibit diplontic phase of a life cycle. So these are the examples, and we need to remember, because these are exceptions. Exceptions may come directly as a questions. Okay, and thank you. Please, while after listening the video, kindly go through the NCERT book, read line by line, and depend most important point from each section. So you can answer, choose the following true statement like questions, find the wrong statement from below, and also multiple choice questions. So these are the very important. From here itself we may expect any kind of question. Okay, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.